So, my name is Mac Anderson, and I work for, an irrelevant tech company, and I was a dog sitter. Now, I know what you're saying. Ooh, this is on no sleep. Ooh, creepiness in the workplace. Well, no. Though, if you noticed that I did say I was a dog sitter. Now, you're wondering why I quit. Well, let's just say after this certain dog-sitting experience, I've become almost deathly afraid of them. I'm not talking about some slight paranoia. I'm talking about full out. I run when I even see a chihuahua kind of fear. I guess I should explain now why I, Mac Anderson, am literally deathly afraid of dogs. It all happened on one normal cloudy day in the suburban areas of Arizona. It was like any other day in these areas. Kids playing outside, the occasional car pulling from its driveway onto work or whatever God-known place they're heading to, and, the daily mailman. It was around 5 o'clock, and around this time I was dead tired from work. Damn, my 5 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. work hours. But, it paid well, so I never publicly complained. At this time, I was only around 23 years old and fresh from IT school. But, that's all irrelevant information now, isn't it? So, let's skip ahead an hour or so, when I got a call from my new next-door neighbors that they were heading out of town to visit some relatives for a day, and had heard that I watched dogs for a side job. I, of course, graciously accepted the offer, and asked what type of dog it was. The voice on the phone said, "German Shepherd." "Awesome. I'll come over right away," I said like a kid who just got a toy from their parents. So I packed up my normal dog-sitting things and walked over to the neighbor's house. When I got there, they already had the car loaded with their kid, his wife, and the old man was waiting outside to greet me. We shook hands, and he laid down some ground rules. So, his name's Mort. He can be a biter at times, especially to strangers, but he'll warm up to you, he proceeded to say with a slight chuckle in his voice. To this day, if I'd have realized the dark sarcasm in his voice and known what the dog's name meant, maybe I would have been spared from this nightmare. But, I was ignorant. Mort in French meant death. Anyways, the family took off, but before they left, the old man said, "Good luck, you'll need it," as he drove off in his car. What the hell did he mean, good luck? Nonetheless, I shrugged off his words and proceeded to enter the house. As I opened the door, Mort was right there looking at me with his tongue out. Thing is, the moment I entered that house, something felt wrong about it. I mean, it was your normal white privileged suburban house, but for some reason, I had a slight feeling of uneasiness. I pushed it aside, concluding that maybe it was just because they were new and I'd never spoken to them beforehand. So, I sat on the couch, waiting for 8 p.m. to arrive so I could feed Mort his dinner. Thing is, and what I noticed in the middle of watching a movie on the couple's flat screen was that the entire time, without ever moving once, Mort was sitting there, watching me with an unknown look in his eyes that almost seemed disturbing. Realizing this, I spoke. "Mort boy, you hungry now?" What happened next can only be explained as demonic and completely and utterly terrifying. As Mort spoke in a demonic, slow, gravelly tone. "Yes, I am, and I see it right in front of me." Face, white as a ghost, turned to look at the once German Shepherd, now looking drastically different. Instead of your normal features that you'd see on a German Shepherd, he looked like something straight out of hell. Blood dripping, chewed up ears, his nose looking like it was completely chewed off by a monster, face half missing with an eternal, void-like darkness filling the space with red gleaming eyes that glowed against the remainder of his face, and razor-sharp, jagged teeth that now expand past his mouth and down his throat, revealing a mouth that stretched wide and 3 feet long. Mort proceeded to voice with a tone dripping in horror. I pity you, mortal, like all the ones who took this job beforehand. You'd be my next victim. All I could do was stand in absolute fear and wait for this thing to finish. And as Mort walked towards me, he said, "Well, you had a fun life, but now it's time for you to enter my damnation realm that's my eternal stomach." Like a track shot going off, Mort proceeded to lunge at an ungodly speed towards me, aiming directly at my neck. Like clockwork, I scantily dodged my body out of the way, but was not fast enough, as I soon felt after a warm liquid running down my arm. Yelping in pain, I realized I had no time to fix this, and proceeded to run out of the living room and straight into the kitchen on the left. Throwing down furniture to provide time for me to escape, the dog tore through them like a hot knife through butter, and chased after me like a starved wolf hunting a deer. I, in the nick of time, closed the wooden kitchen door, but knew that wasn't going to hold him off. He spoke again. "You puny humans think you can escape me. I am labeled as Mort for a reason." As I heard him speak, I noticed that all I could hear was the monster and the morbid, terrifying cries of damnation surrounding everywhere and everything. Noticing my situation, I proceeded to grab whatever weapon I could to defend myself, and so picked up a large butcher knife. Shaking in absolute fear and dread, I was almost on the verge of hyperventilating, but reluctantly, with the small, minuscule amount of courage I could muster, I stood somewhat firm with the knife ready. Minutes passing for what seemed like decades as the room grew quiet and the screaming stopped. Stupidly, I fell victim to the false hope and light, and then seconds rushing like a bullet train as the door splintered open and the dog ran at me. Oh, just before I could feel the pain, and as the dog was in the air about to rip my throat out, I slashed out at the animal, managing to damage the thing's left leg. Mort jumped back in agony as he roared, "You pitiful human, disgusting mortal, how dare you hurt a god?" At the sound of this, I raced into the connecting door on my left that led towards the dining area, while having this hellish hound bolt directly after me. Along the way, I picked up plates and proceeded to throw them behind me, hoping to at least slow this demon down, but it was to no avail as he kept the same ungodly speed as always. When I reached the dining area, I pitched the knife behind me and, with the same motion, picked up the wooden dining chair in front of me and swung it at the demon. The chair broke on impact as the monster began to try to dig its jaw at my vulnerable neck, but before he could do that, with every ounce of little bravery I had left, I raised my arm and felt the agonizing and incredible pain as its jaws clamped on my wrist. I withheld a scream so as to not give this animal any ounce of pleasure. As it stayed there, jaws clamped around my wrists, it said in a low rumble of dread, "Night, night, mortal." Like a light switch, I soon felt myself drifting in and out of consciousness, and a few seconds later, I passed out. Though, as I was unwillingly shutting my eyes, I heard one last thing from the hellish being, and that was, "Get ready to join the many screams of the damned, mortal." Now, everything after this was a blur to me, considering that I later passed out and woke up in a hospital. Though what I heard from the doctors is that I was unconscious until the next day when the family found me and said that I was in a pool of my own blood, with Mort completely missing from the scene, and though, well, what the family said, he disappeared from existence. They called 911 and I was immediately rushed to the hospital. As I woke from my hospital bed, I saw the doctor sitting by my bedside. I weakly asked, with a little air I could get out, "God, what happened, doctor?" The doctor looked at me and then said, "That's not really important, son. All that matters is that you're alive." I wanted to inquire more, but the doctors told me I should rest up. Oh, something strange did happen as the doctor left the room. Before he left, he said in an ungodly familiar tone that I literally instantly recognized, "Welcome to your eternal damnation, mortal." After that, I never did dog-sitting again. I took a week's break from work, and I'm now sitting in my office typing this, while I swear I can occasionally hear the damning screams of people burning alive. Just know this. If you're ever dog-sitting and you hear of a family with a dog named Mort, run like hell.
Hey there. Thank you so much for taking the time to drop by and listen to this story today. It really means a lot to me. I put a lot of time and effort into making these videos, so it's nice to know that there's someone out there listening. Do me a little favor, would you? Click that like button, leave a comment, and if you really feel like it, why not subscribe too? Okay, happy tales everyone. See you soon.